In the fall of 1620, the Mayflower left England with 102 passengers that we today call the Pilgrims. Their ship eventually landed here at what is today Plymouth, Massachusetts.
They spend the winter of 1620-1621 building their houses and unfortunately digging graves. They lost about half the members of the planting company over the course of that first winter.
In early April of 1861, the Mayflower headed back to England. That spring, the Pilgrims were introduced to a native named Squanto. He had been captured from the area in 1614 and taken to Europe. After 5 years in England, he found an opportunity to come home.
He then manages to get back to New England, comes back over, makes his way back to his hometown of Patuxet, only to find that by 1619, everyone is either dead or has fled to other villages.
It was the cleared ground from that prior Native American village that the Pilgrims began to cultivate. In the fall of 1621, the Native Americans and Pilgrims celebrated their first harvest together. While significant, there's little evidence of what took place at the event we call Thanksgiving.
We really only have one record of what happened on that first Thanksgiving, and it is from the time period. It is from someone who was present, and the letter begins, "The governor sent 4 or 5 men out fowling," and so blah, blah, blah. They rejoiced together in a special manner, the natives having come amongst them. There's not a lot. There's a couple of sentences describing that famous first Thanksgiving.
The event took place sometime in the fall of 1621, but the exact date is not known. Nonetheless, it is the meal that we trace back to the holiday we have today.
We know it went on for approximately 3 days. We know it was attended by at least 100 native people. There were only 51 or 52 English people in the town, so remember, the natives are outnumbering them 2 to 1.
It was not an annual event, however. More colonists arrived soon after, and there were now more mouths to feed. Today's Plymouth Plantation recounts the struggle of those men, women, and children. The ground is farmed much as it was nearly 400 years ago.
The key to Plymouth's success is not the fishing that they did, but they were a maritime community, and that was an essential part of their daily life and their survival, but they were also an agricultural community. And that, I think, is the part that kind of gets forgotten. We think of them as being here for their church, but in order to support their church's survival here, those who were members and those who were not, they had to eat.
The story of Plymouth is truly one about agriculture. It was farming that sustained that first colony and brought the bounty for Thanksgiving, a celebration we still have 400 years later. Traveling the countryside in Plymouth, Massachusetts, I'm Andrew McCrae.